Hey, flatheads! I got a leak. Well, I don't, but the 37 does. Time for a new Welsh plug. Follow along in this episode as I change one out, one of my all-time favorite things to do. All right, you're wondering, I'm sure, where the leak is. Well, let's take a look. I'll show you. Put that up out of the way. We're gonna go way down here. And let's see if I can get the camera over there. There it is, right there. Yeah, if I can get the camera in there, but that's the freeze plug, or the Welsh plug, right down here. And what you can see is, first of all, I have an oil filter in the way. Then I also need to get that starter out as well to have access. So we got some challenges. So let's get that starter out. And that first thing I got to do is go over here and pull off the plug. There we go. The other thing I wanted to show you is I took out the battery already, way down here. And there's no battery, disconnected that a while ago, so we're good there. So many things I love about coupes. One of them is those running boards really come in handy. One place to put my tools. Alright, so what I need to do first is to get this oil filter lifted out of the way. So I got to remove that bolt and secure it. Alright, I was able to remove the oil filter and I set it aside over here. I have just barely enough slack in the hoses, but they'll have to do for now. So now I got to remove the power cable and go from there. Alright, I removed the power cables from the top of the starter. Now my next step is to remove this clip and that one right there too, to get this rod out of the way because it sticks way into the firewall over here. So I want to get that off. It makes it a lot easier to pull the entire starter back up through this tight area. Alright, I have both of the clips and pins out. So let me just slide this out of the way. Alright, now on to the next adventure. We got to get the mounting bolts off the starter. Here's one, and then the other one is hidden way down here. So I need a 5/8 swivel, open end, I'm not sure what, to get those two loose. I'm going with the magic swivel down there to get that remote mounting bolt out of there. So let's get that out. That swivel trick did not work, so we went for the old reliable box end wrench here. That's the only way I can get in there. Alright, let's get that mounting bolt out of there. There it is. Now the question is, can I get the motor out, the starter out, through this tight opening here? Let's see if we can do it. And the answer is no. I was able to do it. Oh boy. Carefully. Now with the starter out of the way, we can have a closer look. Let's get down here. Yeah, you can see it seeping out of there. And it's been going down the side of the block here for quite some time. So what I have to do now is drain the antifreeze out and then clean all of this area out and go from there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is drain the antifreeze out, and we're going to go right about here and get that loosened up. Then what we're going to do is we're going to reach down to this 80-plus-year-old petcock down here, and let's see if I can loosen it. Amazingly, look at that. Some kind of miracle. Look at that. Pouring right out of there. If you can see it down there, look at that. So while that's draining, we're going to go over here and I'm going to start cleaning this whole area up here with some degreaser. Got a lot of cleaning done there. You can see that the original cast iron is showing there around that whole perimeter. Now I got to get that Welsh plug out. Alright, I was able to get down here, pop a hole in the plug, and then here it is. Alright, got a hole in it and just was able to just pop it out. This is on what's the front and back of it, but Let's take a look here. Way down inside, look at all of that sludge in there. That is solid sludge that I'm gonna have to get out of there. So I got some work ahead of me to clean that out. Yeah, here's a closer look at all of that. Gotta get that all out of there. So I got to get all of that out. All right, I've been cleaning out that whole area there. Yeah, you can see I got it pretty darn clean. And you can see that other area now is all clean. It's interesting that this hasn't ever overheated. Here's my plug, my new one. I'm gonna put some brake cleaner on it. This is my sealer of choice. I've used it on many other freeze plugs and Welsh plugs with success. If you use something different and recommend something, hey, put it down in the comments. All right, I have it in. Now I have to hammer it into place. Fun stuff. With some hammering, I was able to put a good dimple in it. Looks pretty strong right now. All right, after 3 days, here it is, no leaks. I did put antifreeze back in it, and in the meantime, I did put the oil filter back on temporarily so I can measure for the new lines. In the meantime, I picked up these two lines here. These are the nickel copper alloy lines. They're both a foot long. Of course, one is a 1/4 inch and another one is 3/16. Got these at Napa. Here's the part numbers. And I also decided to get some new flares. Here's one of them. All right, here's a prototype I made. Kind of fit it in here. I put some tape over the fittings to keep the debris out, but that should fit okay there. I also have to make sure that I don't run into the starter that's going to be here. So that's why I put little elbows over here and down below here, just to make sure that I can get around that starter. I installed the starter, get that back in place so I can make sure that the lines can make it around the end of it. I have the first one fitted. That's in the back there. Now, on to the next. All right, I just wanted to show you a couple of the tools I used. This is a little smaller model. That did a real nice job. Here's my bigger one that I used. That's for the, of course, the wider angles. This one's not adjustable as far as the length goes. Does the job. Just thought I'd pass it along. All right, now that I have the lines connected, I've got it running for a little while, getting it up to temperature. Got some good oil pressure. Now let's go check the lines for leaks. There we go. Looking pretty good. Yep. Great shape. We're all set.